Hi, gang. So I wanted to talk to you guys today about heartburn. This is a very sensitive topic for me because this is one of the very first ailments I ever dealt with in my life. And it started when I was about 20 years old. But I talk to a lot of women and I see loads and loads of comments from people who deal with heartburn. And I want to share my story behind it because it might be eye opening, it might help you, and it might send you down a path that could completely change your life when it comes to heartburn. The other thing is, I want you to know going into this that heartburn and acid reduction and not having enough acid in your stomach is actually another trigger for hypothyroidism. It is absolutely connected to that possibility of triggering Hashimoto's and hypothyroidism. And for me, it was definitely one of my missing ailments as far as becoming or being hypothyroid. That was definitely one of the issues that I was having and what was leading me down that path. So I just want you to realize that there are a lot of different root causes that can cause hypothyroidism, and lack of stomach acid is just one of them. So if you have heartburn, and you've had it for a really, really long time, you take acid reducers, this is a story you definitely want to listen to. Okay, so when I was 20 years old, I started getting heartburn like right in the middle of my chest right here. And it was a horrible, horrible burning sensation. I never had it come up in my throat. Mine was always like right between my rib cage. And it would move into my back, and it was absolutely debilitating. So when I was 20, it started to happen a couple of times a week. And I went to the doctor and I had an upper GI done. They told me you produce too much stomach acid and you have a weak opening to your stomach. So you need to have an acid reducer. Just take this every single day and you'll be good to go. Surprise, surprise. Anyways, being my young, naive, okay, good patient self, I went ahead and went on medication. It was called Axid back then. And I took it every single day for years and years and years and years. So fast forward late into my 20s, Axid wasn't really covered by my insurance anymore. And I think it might have even like not even been that popular anymore. So I started taking omeprazole. That was right in that time frame where Prilosec came out. So I transitioned to that because I figured it's cheaper, it's over the counter, I can just get it, I don't have to worry about a prescription and so on. So I started taking that and I continued on. Fast forward to about my mid 30s, right in that area, my heartburn actually started getting worse. And I'm like, this makes no sense because I eat better than I ever have. Back then, I will tell you, I still didn't have a thyroid healthy diet. I was still doing a ton of things wrong. I was eating healthy food, but I was doing it wrong. That's like the best way I can describe it. Because there's so many moving parts. Like you've got to have a good balance of carbs, proteins, and healthy fats. And then you have, the not eating too lean, not eating too strict on eliminating food groups. And I mean, all these crazy different factors that do play a role. So back then I just didn't know. I was really more worried about my heartburn at the time. So in my mid 30s, I started to question, I'm like, this doesn't make sense. I eat better food than I ever have. But my heartburn's getting worse. Like, what gives? I don't understand. So I was actually going to have another test done, and I went in. And here's what triggered it. I was in there and I'm talking about scheduling this test. And she said, well, we can give you a medication to help you in the meantime. I was just like, no, I don't want a medication. I want freaking answers to why my heartburn's getting worse. And frankly, it pissed me off. Like, I was just mad. So I basically never went back. I walked out of the hospital / doctor's office and did not even show up to my appointment. So I was just fed up. So I came home and I started to kind of research and like try to figure out like, why is my heartburn getting worse? Because like all these things started coming together. I'm like, because when I would have heartburn, when I would swallow, it would irritate my heartburn and it would actually make it worse. I'm like, why would my saliva make my heartburn worse? That doesn't make any sense. So I literally would have to spit into a cup. So when I would have heartburn, I would walk around with a cup in my hand because I could not even swallow. That's how painful it was. I couldn't eat. I couldn't drink water. I tried it all, you guys. Like I tried the baking soda. I tried like all of the craziness. None of it worked. Tums never worked. There were no antacids that ever worked. I tried the baking soda thing. Just all these crazy little remedies, and it never took my heartburn away. I had to literally just wait it out. But I started to kind of have these epiphanies, and I'm like, why is my saliva making my heartburn worse, right? Like, why am I'm eating better now, but yeah, it's getting worse. This does not make any sense to me. So I started to do a little bit of research. Here's what I found out, you guys, and here's what I really want you to take from this. If you find this story familiar to you and you've had heartburn for a really, really, really long time, if you take acid reducers for a long time, you get to the point where you reduce your stomach acid so much that your heartburn can get worse because you don't have enough acid because you're not breaking down your food. So when you eat, there's no acid there to actually break down your foods. Now your heartburn's going to get worse because you're not breaking anything down. You have basically whole foods in your stomach, and that's just kind of worsening the condition, right? Not only that, you actually lead to worse gut triggers. So now you're going to break down the healthy wall to your gut because you're not breaking down your foods. So this is part of how it can lead to Hashimoto's and hypothyroidism, because the gut and our thyroid are highly, highly connected. So if you don't have stomach acid in your stomach and you're not breaking down your food, not only are you going to have worse heartburn and things are going to continue, to progress and get worse, but now you're going to actually worsen your gut, and you're going to lead to bigger issues with your gut health, which can lead to autoimmune issues and obviously hypothyroidism, slowing your thyroid down, all these crazy things. Because I will tell you, you cannot have a healthy gut and have a healthy thyroid, and you can't have a healthy thyroid without a healthy gut. So it's an ongoing cycle, you guys. So here's the thing. After that research, I made the decision. I was done with antacids. I'm like, obviously, I'm supposed to have stomach acid in my stomach. That was my other epiphany. So I've done something wrong here, right? Like, I've taken this too far is kind of like my thought process. So I made the decision right then and there, in my mid-30s, I'm done with acid reducers. I have to try to do this naturally and see if I can figure this out. So I stopped all acid reducers. I was freaking terrified, you guys. I'm not going to lie. I was terrified that it was going to get worse. I was terrified that something really serious was going on, that I had like stomach cancer or some crazy things, because it was bad. I mean, it was multiple times a week, and it was horrible as far as the pain and what I was feeling. So, but I made this decision. I have to try, because all of the research I did made sense and pointed to this being the issue. So I did. I stopped. And I started looking at natural solutions. So if I did feel any inkling of heartburn, I actually used honey. Honey can coat your stomach and actually help kind of relieve those symptoms of the painful burning. So I used honey. I would just take a spoon, literally pour honey on top of it, and eat it right off the spoon. And it was literally, no joke, the only thing that would ever soothe my heartburn. And it wasn't instant. It did take usually a little bit of time, but it was much better than the 8 hours of waiting it out and literally never being able to eat or drink anything. So that was my solution. The other thing that I did was lemon. That citrus triggers the closing of your stomach. And it's also alkaline when it hits your body. Yes, it is an acid, but it's alkaline when it's in your body. So lemon juice can actually help prevent heartburn, and it can close and trigger the opening to your stomach to close as well. So those were my two remedies. Not gonna lie, I was terrified, but after about, I would say about 2 weeks, I actually noticed that it was starting to subside. I was feeling better. It was less and less, and I just kind of kept going. And you guys, no joke, no lie, here I am, 44 years old. I literally never, ever, ever, ever get heartburn anymore. It's probably been a solid 6 years since, I might feel like little tinges of it here and there, but it's so small and so minimal, and very, very few and far between. And it doesn't really matter what I eat. Back then, I couldn't work out if I had eaten, because I was going to get heartburn, and all that was going to come up when I would work out. I don't have that issue anymore. Like, it is literally all gone. No stomach or no antacids. No, I don't have to worry about that part of it anymore at all. And I'm convinced, and I know for sure, that it's been also a big part of the healing with my hypothyroidism as well, along with many other changes that I made in my diet to help eat for thyroid health, is what I like to say. So anyways, I hope that helps. If that feels familiar, I highly recommend, even if it terrifies you too, just do some research and start digging a little bit and see if you can find some connections like I did. But anyways, I hope this finds you well, and I hope that helps. So talk to you guys later. Bye.